Going live. And we're live here on Facebook. And welcome to all of you listening in podcast land. And hello to those viewers on YouTube. Yay for the new viewers. So I just told you real quick, but I will recap it. If you are listening to us, check us out on Facebook. If you want to join in the conversation, we are at facebook.com/ballsandsticks. That has a link to our facebook.com/fans of Balls and Sticks, where you can be a fan of our page and join in discussions there. That's where all our poll questions are, which we'll talk about in a second. But first, Rich, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Mike. So we're both the wife and I are out of our quarantine period for COVID. I don't think either of us really got hit too hard with symptoms, but you know what? We got the antibodies now.
It's always a good thing to do. I'm still waiting for my antibody test to come in so that I can no longer wear a mask at work.
I'm not worried too much about it either way.
Okay, so
how's the baby doing?
Baby's doing great. Rich got to see the baby for about 5 minutes earlier while we were doing our pre-show. No, she's doing great. You could tell she's filling out quite a bit, getting her baby fat going, which is always good to see. Starting to show more definition of what she's going to end up looking like, which is good. Getting some facial features and that stuff in, which is always fun to do. Okay, so not a huge show this week. Lots of baseball talk to talk about. And we also have some quick hits. Rich, what are the other two big topics we have for the week?
We'll be talking a little bit of NASCAR as they're going to be going on the road course, a pretty long road course this week down in Austin, Texas. And we'll also be talking a little bit about the Preakness and the NBA play-in tournament results.
Nice. All that and more. But Rich, first, it's time to roll the intro.
Yes, it is, Mike.
Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa. This is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich. Okay, and we are back. So, Rich, like I alluded to earlier, we have poll questions. You can find them at Facebook.com/fans of Balls and Sticks. Those are the official weekly poll questions. We have weekday poll questions, so 5 days a week. I put a poll question on our Twitter page as well. We'll have those links in the description below to check out our Twitter, our Facebook fan page, and and the show page. So, Rich, hit us with that poll question. What was it this week? We're still in our movie. These are the semifinals?
Quarterfinals.
Quarterfinals. Okay.
Yeah. So our quarterfinal matchup this week was our number one overall seed, Field of Dreams, going up against a wild card that won its first round matchup, the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah. That's
a lot of votes.
A lot of votes for this one. A lot of people had opinions.
Yeah.
13-8. Did that surprise you?
It did. I was kind of surprised that the Ducks got that many votes.
I voted for the Ducks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quack.
Okay.
Quack. 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 Don't you remember that, Rich?
I do.
Okay.
I do. But it's still not... I can't go against a classic like Field of Dreams.
I've watched Field of Dreams all the way through without falling asleep, finally.
Yeah?
Yeah. Every other time... So, we talked about it when we first did the Field of Dreams poll. That week I watched Field of Dreams. For real, I did. Because every other time I tried to watch Field of Dreams, it was going to or from a baseball game or on a long road trip with schools and stuff, and they'd put it on at like 8 o'clock at night, and you've been doing stuff all day, and you're super tired, so you just sleep.
and that's fair. Is like that. That's the same thing. I've had movies like that to where it's for whatever reason I don't.
Oh, you're dropping out, Rich. I think we lost Rich. So, folks, the poll question ended at 13-8 in honor of Field of Dreams. Rich, you were surprised at Mighty Ducks getting 8 votes. What do you think it should have gotten?
I don't know what it should have gotten. I was just surprised that it got 8. That's all.
Okay.
We do have a shout out for our poll. Friend of the show Adam Heath said Emilio is no match for Costner. Plus James Earl Jones. And
that's a very valid point.
Yeah, and my dad replied exactly.
I didn't see those until earlier today. Otherwise, my response would have been the Flying V. Because ducks fly together.
They do fly together. Have you had a chance to watch any of the Mighty Ducks Game Changers, like TV show adaptation that they did on Disney Plus?
No. Why would I do such a thing?
It's odd. I think
I want to enjoy the classic and not worry about the remake stuff. Like, if they made Field of Dreams tomorrow, if they announced tomorrow that they've greenlit Field of Dreams remake, it's gonna be in Idaho or whatever. I don't know, in a potato farm or something. I don't know how you come out of the fields of a potato farm, but
yeah. But I don't know. I mean, the Disney show around it is kind of like a continuation of like what happened years down the road to like the Mighty Ducks.
Okay.
As kind of like a youth sports franchise.
Do they bring back any of the? Oh, so none of the original characters are in it.
Emilio Estevez is in it as Gordon Bombay, and they brought back maybe six of the original teams so far.
Okay, maybe I'll have to watch some of it. We'll see. But
it's just okay.
Rich, what is this week's poll question?
All right, so we're going to go down to the 4-7 matchup for second round, as you're going to see the number 4 seed Remember the Titans take on fellow Disney real-life dramatized real-life story number 7 Miracle.
Man, so two hockey movies 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah. Yes. So which
which
dramatized true life story?
Are we gonna knock hockey out of our poll question in 2 weeks?
I don't know.
That's up to you, for you to decide, folks, at facebook.com/fans of balls and sticks. Check it out. Hey, Rich, do you see what's coming up ahead?
Is it a left turn?
Yeah. But guess what? There's a right turn in there, too. Because we're heading to the road course in the NASCAR Corner. Brought to you today by Triple I Sports Card Incorporated. Your home for sports memorabilia. Check them out in East Moline, Illinois. For all your sports card needs, check out Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated. Okay, so Rich, good news, bad news. Alex Bowman, man, did you see that race last week?
I did. It was,
man, domination by one team, not one car, one team of cars. The Hendricks team did an amazing job, winning positions 1, 2, 3, and 4. Their entire livery finished ahead of anybody else in the team in the race.
Quite dominating. Kind of disappointing, like for Kyle Larson, who led most of that race, but due to restarts, lost to his teammate Alex Bowman.
Yeah.
And I also lost this week as Martin Truex Jr. had a disappointing day in Dover for by his standards as he finished 19th, and Mike, your pick of Denny Hamlin came in 8th.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, uh, I mean, Denny. Denny looked like he did a pretty decent job this week and hooked up. Um, that moves me to 10 to your 3, Rich.
Yeah, 10 to 3. Not my year this year,
It's
but you
starting
did.
to feel like last year for you,
It is. But
only in reverse.
yeah, exactly. It's reversed.
Um, so let's real quick give our NASCAR shout outs. Um, last week's winners. You won, Rich.
Yeah,
I
it
came
was
in
a good day for
second.
me.
I came in second. Tony came in third, and Solomon, whose favorite team are is the Hendricks team, came in last place. You would have thought he would have picked more guys at the top of the league, or at the top, being how he picks more. He tends to like Hendricks guys. So,
Well, you got to spread your uses around though too. You
yeah,
can't, but at least on the bonus, I don't know how his bonus points.
yep.
I don't remember how he distributed his bonus points, but so maybe he picked the Hendricks guys on the bonus pick side.
So, Rich, who do you got this week? Do you got any advice for anybody? Who do you think's going to do
Okay.
well? Who do you think's not? Any sleepers? Any of that stuff?
Okay, so I think fantasy NASCAR lineup construction, I would definitely, well, a lot of Coda is unknown. Nobody's driven on this track. The closest thing to maybe driving on this track is you had, I think it was Keselowski, Truex, and Elliott were part of the Goodyear like tire test.
Yeah,
That they did the tire test on the track, so they have some real life Cup Series driving experience on that track. But there's still a lot of unknowns. It's just going to be a 20 turns, 3.41 miles per lap on this course
yeah,
configuration, and nobody's driven on this track before. So while you might have guys that have a history of being good at road courses on the NASCAR Cup Series, I would strongly look at your uses,
yeah,
because while you could go with a guy like a Chase Elliott or Martin Truex, Denny Hamlin, um, like maybe even Ryan Blaney or Logano, being good history of being good road racers, you got to look at your uses to where with no track history to look at, maybe I probably wouldn't go with a guy that I have like less than 6 uses on for this course.
okay. Um, in I will ask pointed questions just because
Sure.
you seem to be the expert at fantasy NASCAR. I'm not saying you're the expert in NASCAR,
No.
but at least in fantasy NASCAR, you seem to be doing quite well, winning the last 2 years and looking like you're going to wrap it up pretty early this year too. Who do you have as your winning team, or who do you
Winning
think you
team?
should look at?
I like the Hendricks guys.
Okay,
Again,
okay, look for
William Byron. For me, it's William Byron and Chase Elliott. Even Alex Bowman have pretty good road course racing.
Okay,
And but don't forget about your maybe the road course ringer that's coming up to the Cup Series. AJ Allmendinger too.
yep,
Consider him as a for your fantasy NASCAR line
yep.
as well.
Okay. With that being said, I will pick first, and I'm going to return to Denny Hamlin this week. He has been at the top. I think this week he loves road course racing. He really does. Look for him to come out and shock the world and win the first race at at Coda this week.
Okay. I like Denny Hamlin as a pick out of Joe Gibbs Racing. Joe Gibbs is probably the other strong team for road racing as well. So I like the Denny Hamlin pick. He won't be in my lineup because of uses. So
He's
I'm
not in my
choosing
lineup,
Benji.
by the way. He's not a starter
Yeah.
on my team.
Hmm.
Yeah, I only have
All
3
right.
starts with him until the until the playoffs start, so I can't use him this week.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Chase Elliott.
Okay, I like that
Chase
pick.
Elliott wins a lot of road races, so and he's also going to be in my lineup. I've only used him 7 times so far.
Wow.
So I'm gonna use Chase Elliott this week.
Okay. With that, any more NASCAR news that we need to cover?
There will be practice. There is
Yes.
practice and qualifying for this race. So make sure to maybe check your fantasy picks one last time to finalize your roster before the race starts. Is it a 1 o'clock race?
I think so.
Yeah, 1:45 race, just to see where people are on the grid.
1:45 Central Standard Time.
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
Central Daylight Time, not Standard. They actually have it screwed up on here. Because we're in Daylight Time, not Standard. They have EST, not EDT.
Everything goes off of the Eastern.
Yes, but I'm saying
Eastern.
it's not Eastern Standard Time. It would be Eastern Daylight Time.
Yeah, you're right. It probably would be. So I don't know. So you can catch the
NASCAR.
practice. Yeah. So you can catch the practice laps. I think practice is currently going on FS.
I think we lost you, Rich.
You said before you check your lineup.
Yep. Okay. FS1. Once again, for those that didn't hear Rich, because he kind of fritzed out there for a second. And let's let the cars go around once, because, it takes them a while to get around. Okay, now the heart of the show. We're going to talk baseball. Baseball. Rich, you ready for the baseball talk?
I sure am.
Let's
Good
start
week
off
for
like
the
we
Cubs.
do every week. We review the Cubs week in review, look at how they did, and how we think they're going to do next week, and then we get into the news of the MLB overall. Rich, the Cubs went 5-2 show to show. You think that was a good? You think that was better than you thought? Or
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Much
I
better.
agree, much better. I did not think they'd win that many. It's weird. They tend to play up quite a bit. They have moved up to 2 games above 500, and that puts them second in the division, making them 2 games back from St. Louis. Hopefully they win some. They won one back last night. Hopefully they can win another game back tonight.
Yeah, you can. The Cubs will be in prime time, as you'll be able to catch the game number 2, Saturday's game against the Cardinals over on Fox. They're the Fox game of the week.
It's not going to be blacked out, is it?
No,
Okay.
shouldn't be.
Because if I get blacked
Yeah.
out, I'm yelling at the MLB.
You
About
should.
how
They should
stupid-
relax those blackout rules.
How stupid blackout rules are.
They are. They are. But that's a whole other topic for another day.
Sorry.
You want to see the game grow.
Yeah.
You want to see the game grow in popularity. Relax those blackout rules.
Yep.
Especially for your streaming services.
Yep. If I
And,
pay for it, if I pay you to watch my team, I should never get blacked out on any game ever.
Totally agree.
This week they have 2 against the Cardinals, 3 against the Pirates, 1 against the Reds. Rich, are they going to be able to make it into first place by the end of this week? At any point in the week?
I'm gonna still say no.
Okay.
It's hard to sweep your division rivals, the Cardinals. It can be done, but it's really, really hard.
Hey, let's predict that they won't. That way they do, and we can say we were wrong next
Exactly.
week.
Exactly. So let's see. They got 6 games. The Bucks they just can't seem to beat the Bucks this year
The
for
Bucks
whatever
always.
reason.
I mean, the Cardinals have the same problem.
Yeah.
The Cardinals always have the same. Like, the Pirates are the team that, we could have the 3 best teams in the major leagues, which we have in the past. None of them will ever be called the Bucks because they just are never the top team in majors. Rarely, they occasionally are, but the Pirates come in, and for some reason they always have everybody else in the division's number. It's like the only games they care about is that. But we have 3 against the Bucks and 1 against the Reds at the end of the week. So Quick calculations. What do you think it's going to be?
I'm going to go 3-3.
I'm going to go 4 and 2.
4-2.
4 and 2.
Okay. It comes down to the good week, bad week theory that the Cubs seem to be playing this year.
Yeah.
That's
not how you win the division, guys.
You got to follow a good week with a mediocre week. So that's why I'm going 3-3.
Okay. Overall, anything else that you're liking with the Cubs? Anything that you want to talk about before we get into other major league sports conversation?
Not really. It's good to see that they're playing through injuries. Is now you got Jason Hayward out, but it seems like Ian Happ's back.
Yeah.
To hitting again. So.
Okay. Heading over to the rest of the majors, everybody's least favorite former Cardinal, former Angels.
Yeah,
former Angel and current. And this is the news that we're talking about. Mm-hmm. Albert Pujols signing with the Dodgers.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised by this move. I thought that he was going to be kind of dig in and say, you know what, I want a clear path. I want a clear path through playing time.
Yep.
To where I think he would have held out, and he would have held out. I mean, that there was talk that he was going to go play for the Dominican national team and be on their Olympic roster since he was no longer on a major league roster.
Yeah.
But I guess, the Dodgers have a role for him, and he's okay playing that role.
Yeah. They didn't have any good right-handed bats. So,
good for him. He's got a chance to maybe go out with the World Series ring and get paid to be a bench guy for the Dodgers. A good bench guy and mentor to a young squad the younger players on that roster.
Do you want to hit which topic do you want to hit first? We got
both the kind of loaded topics.
We got
that are going to have a lot
very
of
loaded topics getting ready to happen here, folks. This is where we're going to spend most of the rest of our time in these next two topics. Let's go on the happier side of things.
Okay.
Spencer Turnbull of the Tigers and Corey Kluber of the Yankees, boo, both hit no-hitters this week, or both threw no-hitters. First time ever that we've had 6 no-hits before June. At this pace, we're supposed to get something like 50.
Yeah, it's crazy. A no-hitter, 2 no-hitters a month.
Yeah,
we're on pace to hit that. It's the first time ever that we've had 5 no-hitters thrown on the road in one season.
That's impressive.
And it's the first time that the 3 teams have been no-hit twice in the same season. The Indians, the Rangers, and the Mariners.
The other side of the first, some other first times. When was the last? I think this is the first time since 1918 that we've had back-to-back no-hitters.
On the same night, back-to-back nights,
yeah. So it's kind of amazing. So then we get into the real question.
Mm-hmm.
Tough
question.
Rich, you posed it. I have a really well structured argument about it. But do you want to start the discussion, or do you want to ask the question?
I'll ask the question, and I'll go off of yours.
Okay.
And the question is, are all these no-hitters good for baseball?
Okay. So you posed it a little bit differently, so my answer is going to sound a little odd. I'm going to try to.
That's fine.
Going to try to shape it to the question, but it's the same basic question. I believe what the no-hitter is doing is the no-hitter is showing what is causing problems with the game of baseball. These no-hitters are showing that everybody is swinging for the fences or striking out. There's barely any in between. And when there is in between, everybody's putting the ball directly into the shift, so the offense gets muted. Now, my real question for this entire argument, do the players even have a problem being no-hit anymore?
I think they have a problem being no-hit. Because, you don't like them to be no-hit. But it's...
You and I say that, but... I mean, there's guys that are coming out making jokes after being no hit.
How so, Mike?
I mean, I don't know their exact jokes, but they're smiling and messing around in the
Hmm.
bullpen.
Yeah,
When we were
I don't know.
when we were in Milwaukee and watched the Houston Astros get no hit by Carlos Zambrano, what the Astros dugout look like?
They looked like they were a little bit mad or kind of frustrated that they just could not get a hit off the guy.
They look dejected. They look hurt. And yet nowadays these guys don't look like they even care. Now I'm not saying they don't care. It's these guys care. I do think they do, but they're not really showing it all that much.
Or at least they're just struggling it off. Hey, this guy's he's on tonight.
Yeah. So
He's
it's
on
like
tonight. Let's move on to tomorrow.
it's so hard to get into that and to actually say that they actually do care. Rich, are the no hitters good for baseball?
I think they still are good for baseball, but it's showing how much the game has changed and how much the hitters have changed over the years. I mean, the strikeout isn't as big of a deal. Guys aren't treating the strikeout as a bad thing. They just sort of see it as, all right, it's just another type of out. No big deal. Move on to the next guy. I'll get him with the next at bat. But I mean, it's shown that, I mean, they've been taught that
Yeah.
since so young of an age to lift the ball, hit the ball hard.
I think the term you're looking for is launch angle.
Yeah, launch angle. You got
Oh, there's
got
another
high
word you need to
school-
look at, by the way, or another phrase you need to look at. Exit velocity.
exit velocity, analytics. You got guys that you have people looking at with so much video and the evolution of the swing coach coming
Oh,
into
yeah.
baseball. A swing coach instead of a hitting coach.
Yep.
These hitters only have one type of swing. One type.
Yeah.
We can only think of maybe one, maybe two players that change their hitting approach once they get to two strikes.
I mean, yeah. You were talking about
Everybody else, they don't change their swing.
that. Old school guys. My visual aid. Okay. You
Yeah.
hold the bat here. You hit, and when you swing, you just you look for that launch angle. You look for you get your bat speed up. You get all that going, so that you can hit the ball, so it has the best exit velocity and launch angle to get a home run. That's all you're worried about. On two strikes, you know what you do? You hold the bat the exact same, and you swing it the exact same. Unless your name is Anthony Rizzo. Because what does he do?
He chokes up
He chokes up on that bat.
and shortens the
And
swing.
shortens
Nobody
his
else
swing.
does that.
And you know what?
Nobody
He gets
else.
on base half the time with that.
Or
There's
he
a-
at least puts the ball in play.
There's a reason why he is one of these guys that we love looking at and watching in baseball. I can't believe it's not done more often. This is what professional hitters used to do. Hitters used to know, if I choke up on the bat, I can change my swing, I can speed it up, I can control it better. I mean,
Yeah.
science says if I'm here, yes, I can get a faster swing. But the problem with that is where it's at, the faster I go, the less I have control of this side, right? The shorter it is, yes, I can speed up my mechanics. This doesn't swing as fast, but what it does do is it gives me control of where I put it more. And when I control where I put it more, then I can make sure I hit the ball and get it into play, as opposed to like you're talking about all these guys with the strikeouts.
Yeah, I mean, ESPN did a great article of talking about baseball Hall of Fame players of yore. Guys like George Brett, Wade Boggs, Paul Molitor.
Yeah.
Hated the strikeout. They
Yeah.
did not want to strike out at all. Now, it's not a big deal. Not a big deal whatsoever that you struck out. I mean, how many times have you seen a player just laugh it off and up, struck out, no big deal? But I mean, the other part of the whole thing with no hitters and showing how much the game has changed with analytics is also defensive positioning. Guys have like a little index card in their pocket to kind of give them a helpful guide of how to defensive position themselves in the outfield, or you got signals coming from the dugout telling you that, hey, this guy's up, we need to shift over to the right or shift to the left. And it's not just the infield, but it's also the outfielders. So the notion of, all right, hey, hit it to the gap, hit it where there ain't, that's harder to do because of how the fielders are positioning themselves now.
100% agree. Yeah, it's the biggest problem in sports that we have is that. The other problem, and you brought it up earlier. Do you want to bring it up now, or do you want me to bring it up and I can give you the rebuttal?
Go ahead and bring it up, because I don't know where you're going.
The thing about the pitchers that you were saying.
Oh, the pitchers, yeah. I mean, the pitchers have gotten better, too, with them throwing harder for shorter amounts of time. You used to have guys like your Greg Maddoxes and Tom Glavines that would expect and know that, all right, I'm going to go 7 innings, so I'm not going to show the pitcher I'm not going to show the batter my best stuff early on in the game because I want to set it up for later use. Now you got guys that probably go into the game knowing that they're probably only going to see the lineup through 2 times.
Yeah.
So do they need to save their best stuff? No. Also, I mean, guys aren't afraid to, when it gets to when they're down in the count 3-1 or 3-2. In the old days, what kind of pitch did you expect to see in that situation because they didn't want to walk you?
You're going to get a fastball right down the middle.
Yeah, not anymore. They'll throw whatever they want because they have confidence in their stuff.
Yeah. So here's my thing, and this is, I agree and disagree all at the same time.
And that's fair.
Because you kind of changed
gotten better.
You kind of changed your argument a little bit there. Your original argument was blanket pitching has gotten better, which I would say inaccurate.
Okay.
But I think when you cleared it up and saying guys are pitching harder for shorter amounts of time, that is where the pitching has gotten better. Pitching has gotten better because the guys, you're not seeing them as much, so your batters aren't getting the reps, so they're not getting the ability to actually deal with it or to catch up to the pitcher. That's the first problem. But the bigger problem is, yes, they have gotten excessively stronger. But look at curveballs today. Yeah, they're running in the mid-80s, mid-90s, almost the lower 90s sometimes. A guy pitches 102 miles an hour fastball and then follows it up by a 92 mile an hour curveball. You're right. That's fast. But that curveball isn't much of a curve, is it?
Not really.
Okay. And what's happened to the sinkers?
They're not sinking as much anymore.
So the balls, because they're flying so fast, they don't have as much time to cut. They don't have as much time to move. So you don't get guys that have the movement as much anymore. Which is, I think it's what's hurting Cousin Kyle. Umpires are used to seeing fastballs come at them and knowing and being able, and they have to figure it out as it's coming at them, where the strike zone is, whether it's a strike or not. Kyle loves to paint them corners, doesn't he?
He does.
And
That's his bread and butter.
He paints them not with a 100 miles an hour fastball or even a mid-90s fastball is his highest stuff. Mm-hmm. He's normally in that 90 to 92 range for his fastball, but his curveballs, his off-speed pitches is where his bread and butter is, and doing amazing things with it. Well, when you're a guy that's throwing a curveball that is 20 feet off the plate, when it's 20 feet out, it's 20 feet off, and it comes back and it ends up right on the plate, what's that look like in comparison to a guy throwing a curveball at 92 miles an hour that may get an inch or two off the plate and then ends up right on the corner?
It's not going to get called.
Those differences are what's screwing it up. I don't think that it's honestly the game itself. I think that's why Kyle's not getting some of the calls that he normally does.
Yeah. So now, Mike.
So there's that. I would say that there is, like I said, there's less curveballs, there's less skilled pitches being made, and it's all about let me rear back and break my entire body as I throw 100 miles an hour as my normal fastball 60 times a game, because God forbid I ever get to 90.
Yep. And then you start the parade of one-inning relievers that are going to throw as hard as they can for one inning.
Yep. And that's
one inning, or maybe one or two batters now.
That's what the game, 3 batters. They have to do a minimum of 3 unless they come in.
Unless they finish an inning.
Unless they finish an inning, yep. But that's what the game has evolved to. These very specialized things. Some of it's great. I don't know that it's good for the game necessarily.
Yeah, so now there's discussions, all right, how are you going to fix this? There's talks of moving the mound back a couple of inches to change so that the batters have more time to react to these fast pitches or faster breaking pitches. There's talk of banning the shifts. We've already seen how we are limiting the number. We have a minimum batter rule for pitchers now, for relievers coming into the game. But I think the only way you're going to see this fixed is for hitters to change their approach at the plate.
Oh man.
And that's going to take some time.
That's so much stuff right there.
It is.
That is so much stuff in there. Let's start unpacking this, folks, because there's tons in that, and it's not necessarily Rich making these statements. This is Major League Baseball talking about it. I'm trying to find another quote here, so don't give me
Yeah, I mean the mound is already slightly moving back in one of the lower level independent leagues that the Major League Baseball is partnering with, and their argument to it is, well, what happened during the dead ball era? When pitching was so dominating the game, they lowered the mound.
Yeah.
Baseball is a constant game of change, so
yep.
All right, if we can't lower the mound anymore and we don't want to raise it back up, let's slightly move it back to be more in the center of the diamond.
Here's my problem with that.
Slightly forward.
Here's my problem with that concept. If Cousin Kyle throws his normal curveball, where's it going to end up if they move it back even 5 inches? It's going to be landing on the plate. The arc for which he throws that ball, it is coming down in an angle that it's going to land in the middle of the plate. Right?
And then you're going to see it hit a million miles out of the park because now it's landing in the middle of the plate instead of on the corners.
Yeah. It's
I mean, I really, really hope that they don't go to that extreme.
So
and they gradually let the hitters catch up to the pitchers, and for the game to evolve just like it always has.
Right. I mean, they've done things to change it. It's a game that changes, and I'm okay with change. I'm not saying that you can't change the game. The mound moving is not my least favorite thing. There's other things that are, but here's one thing. Bill Shakin.
Okay.
He covers baseball for the LA Times. He put a tweet out there that Rob Manfred on Sportico Live said sports betting is a massive opportunity for fan engagement. He also said in the same interview that Adam Silver of the NBA told him to stop talking about pace of play because baseball's pace of the game is perfect for sports betting, meaning wagering between pitches and wagering between innings. So, I'm bringing that to is this talk of changing the game in ways to speed it up, to make the batters better. Which, by the way, we're seeing record number of home runs hit. Do the batters really need to see the ball that much better?
No.
I mean, theoretically, what's the ultimate proof of a batter being able to see the ball?
A home run.
Okay, so if we're seeing record number of home runs, then what's that tell you about the batters being able to see the ball?
They're doing just fine.
Then why do we need to move them out again?
Because the pitchers are too good, Mike.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I really don't hope I hope they don't take that. I hope they don't take it. But I mean, how much of the broadcasts are you listening to, and you see the broadcasters talking about how the game needs to change or how it needs to get better?
Those are notes. Yeah. I promise you, those are notes from the MLB, and I don't know why. Because again, it's
exactly. You want to grow your game, don't badmouth it. Focus on the positives.
Yeah. Let's focus on the fact that there's been more home runs hit in the last 3 years than there have been in half the century before it. Like, we are hitting record numbers of home runs. We're also having record number of strikeouts. These are correlated. It does not mean that the pitchers are getting better. It does not mean that the batters are getting better. It means that the batters are only focused on one thing. This is what we've been saying the whole time, folks. Batters need to work on being batters and not just home run hitters. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, it helps to have a home run hitter on your team. But if I got 3 guys on base and my home run hitter comes up and hits a home run, how many runs is that worth, Rich?
That's 4 runs.
That's a grand slam, 4 runs. Okay, here's my question. If all of my guys are swinging for the fences or striking out, and only one of my guys hits a home run, how many runs is that worth?
If he strikes out, you got no runs out of that.
If he hits a home run, if one of my guys
hits a home run, it's a 4.
No, if you have the bases loaded, it's 4. But if all of my guys are now focused on home runs, so nobody's on base, and my home run hitter comes up and he hits a home run, it's worth 1 point. Analytics tells me having guys getting on base is better than not having guys get on base. You play small ball so you can play the big ball.
Yeah, how many times are you listening to Pat and Ron, and you hear Pat Hughes, a veteran baseball announcer, and it's, the Cubs could really use a long ball right now. It's like when they have a runner on, it's like, how about you get another guy on base?
Yeah.
And then another guy on base, and another guy on base.
Yeah.
Keep the line moving.
Keeping the line moving equates to runs. Home runs, yeah, they equate to runs, but if you got nobody on base at the time, they equate to 1 run. I mean, the National Basketball Association the game has evolved because 3 points is worth higher than 1 point or 2 points. Right?
Yeah.
And so, wouldn't 4 points be greater than 1 point?
Mm-hmm.
Get guys on base. Have 1 or 2 guys focused on that long ball. You got 1 or 2 guys that are focused on that long ball. By the way, here's other things that change. If the rest of your line can just move the line, you get 1, 2, 3 guys on base regularly. They're just moving the line. to set up for your 2 home run guys. I'll even give you 2 home run guys. Your 1, 2, and 3 guys should not be home run guys. Those guys should get on base. Your 4 and 5 guys, those should be your cleanup hitters. Your 4 guys should be your best home run hitter. Your 5 guys should be your second best. So if your 4 guy strikes out, your 5 guy comes in and makes that home run, gets you a grand slam. You got 4 runs on the board. That's how you do it, folks. But if your 1, 2, and 3 guy are focused on getting on base, they're going to worry about pulling the ball away from the shift or pushing the ball away from the shift. They're going to worry about being able to hit that bloop single into center instead of into right where the shift is. You're going to have guys that are going to be able to control how the ball comes off their bat more, which then leads to plays that, by the way, there was a poll question done by the MLB itself that stated they asked what's your favorite type of baseball play. You know what the number 1 was, Rich?
A triple.
You know what number 2 was?
A double.
You know what number 3 was?
A home run.
No.
Really?
Stolen base.
Stolen base.
You know what took 4th? A home run. People want to see triples, doubles, stolen bases, and then a home run.
But all batters want to do is hit a home run.
Oh. Well, that doesn't work.
That's what gets them paid. If they're putting up offense and contributing to the team winning, that's what gets them paid.
Yeah, and that's true. It's hard. The hardest part is that we don't do a great job of measuring. We don't do a great job of measuring players that get on base and get hit in. There are some measurements for it, but they're not the ones that everybody cares about. A guy that gets on base that has a 600 on base percentage is probably your most valuable player, but will never win an MVP. You know why? Because it's the guy that hit 30 home runs this year, 40 home runs this year.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Like, are we ready to move on? Because kind of like that home run swing and guys getting paid because they're putting up the home runs.
That actually leads into a great thing to this. There was some controversy with the crosstown rivals, the Chicago White Sox, as Yermin Mercedes had a 3-0 pitch, dug in. Allegedly, at that time, Tony La Russa comes running out of the dugout, screaming, "Take, take, 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 take!"
Or he's on the top step. He's on the top step yelling, "Take, take, take!"
Yep. And the Twins had put in a backup infielder and a backup catcher pitching in the 9th inning, while the White Sox are up 15-4. Yermin Mercedes with two outs. Yermin Mercedes swings and hits a home run. Lots to break down in this play, but let's first talk about the analytics and the best stats of this play. First analytic of this play. Do you know what the speed of the pitch was? That was, quote unquote, a fastball.
49 miles per hour, I believe it was.
46.
46. Ah, it was close.
46. Do you know what the exit velocity of that ball was as it exited the bat?
No, I did not.
109 miles an hour. That boy ripped that ball as hard as he could. Folks, I say boy not in a derogatory term, but in the fact that he's like 18, 19 years old. He's young.
Mercedes is in like his 20. He's in his like mid 20s. He spent a lot of time in the minor leagues.
Oh,
he finally got his chance.
Okay, well,
he finally has his chance in the majors.
Still, which brings up whether or not this was right or wrong. And then finally, what was the flight distance of this ball?
That thing went over 430 feet, didn't it? Dead center.
439. He muscled the crap out of that ball. Like, he hit that ball as hard as Benny hit the ball that blew the skin off of it. in the greatest sports movie of all time, The Sandlot.
In your opinion, Mike, but yeah.
So, I mean, he nailed that ball. So let's get into Rich. First of all, right or wrong, and back up your argument.
Yeah. You know, when I first put this thing on the outline, I was saying wrong. You know what?
Okay.
Take it. I mean, take the side. At least let it go the 3-1.
Okay.
Let it go the 3-1. Your team is up 15-4, and there's 2 outs. So it isn't like he was the first batter in the inning. There were 2 outs.
Okay.
But
why? Now, I'm gonna ask you, why was that your original opinion?
The game was over, and there were 2 outs.
Okay.
But
are you gonna also quote the unwritten rules of baseball?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't. Why do you need to get that another run?
No, I was saying. I mean, yes, the call off the dogs.
Call off the dogs. Yep.
But I was thinking you were thinking the basic of unwritten rules, which is you take a 3-0 pitch. You always take a 3-0 pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, that's again an unwritten rule. Okay. Now, you said you changed your mind.
I have. The thing is, you play. I don't blame one bit for Mercedes doing this. You play the game to win. So the game wasn't over. So why not?
Yeah.
The game wasn't over, and until baseball decides that a manager can throw up the white flag and say, "All right, game's over. We'll forfeit. We forfeit. Let's end this game now. We're not going to come back." It's still there. I mean, the Twins could have, in theory, batted in the bottom of the ninth and come up with 12 runs to tie the game and send it into extras. They could have. Yeah. There's always that chance with baseball.
Yep. That's why you play 9.
Exactly. I mean, I would have said maybe take and not swing 3-0, but also because this is how guys get paid, is by putting up numbers. Who's to say if your main Mercedes strikes out, and that's the difference between him getting a higher case in arbitration, or maybe that sends him into a slump, and then he finds himself down in Charlotte in AAA for the White Sox.
Okay.
Or not playing in a couple of days.
Are you ready for it?
Yeah. So I would say, so my opinion, I'm gonna go with, because the game has changed, I would say Mercedes was in the right. Go for it.
Okay, I'm going to say Mercedes is in the right. And I'm actually going to use old school baseball rules.
Okay.
Rich, when you put a position player on the field, basically the unwritten rules say there are no rules anymore.
I can agree with that. He chose to save. I think they said that there were 6 other pitchers on the active roster that they could have put in out of the bullpen, or by sending in a starting pitcher.
You
to get 3
gave
outs.
up any rights to be upset about it until once you put a non-pitcher on the mound. A position player on the mound equates to no more unwritten rules of baseball. That's basically how it goes. A 3-0 pitch means nothing when it's a position player. If they have a full play, if they have an actual pitcher, if one of the relief guys is coming out to get a close, I mean it's not even a save situation. But if he's coming out to close to get some practice reps in because he hasn't pitched in 3 days, yeah, you take on the 3-0. I'm okay with that. But as soon as you open yourself up by putting a position player on the mound, you know what you did? You done erased all the unwritten rules of baseball. Period. I don't care. Get out of here with that bull. So that's issue number 1. Issue number 2, and this is where that's where I say in the right, in in the moment, it was right. Now, after the game, this is where things get real bad.
Yeah, and that's where I was hoping we would go, Mike.
Tony La Russa, in his interview, all 76 years of age that he's got on him, probably older than most of these guys' grandpa. Let's be honest.
Yeah, probably Grandpa.
He's probably older than all of their grandpas. Comes up to the mic and says, he was wrong in what he did. I saw him digging in, and I came up and I was yelling, don't, take. He said he ran out of the dugout screaming, take, by the way. That's what he said. He's going to have to live with the consequences of his decision. And blah, blah, blah. He said a few other things. He did say, I hope that the Twins know I'm going to take care of it. He said that. So, I actually have a different take on this.
Okay.
And I heard it, I don't remember who I heard say it, but was Tony La Russa trying to get it so that he wasn't getting his guy thrown at? His statement sounds like, oh, my guy's going to get thrown at. But then he says, I'm going to take care of it in our clubhouse. It won't happen again. I hope the Twins understand that. Was he trying to save his pitcher or his guy from getting hit by a pitch? In his own mind, at least.
I don't think he was. He said he will have to live with the consequences.
Yep. No, I agree. I think he was wrong.
That tells me that, it was wrong. I went and apologized to the Twins.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that part. Yeah.
He went and apologized, talked to the Twins, saying that, hey, my bad. I told him to take. It wasn't my fault. This wasn't on me.
Yeah.
And he didn't seem to care that his batter got thrown behind.
Well, and we hadn't gotten to that yet. We're now to that point. This is where we go. Fast forward to the next day, and the pitcher or the Twins was it Twins starter?
It was a reliever, Tyler Duffy.
Yeah, Tyler Duffy comes up and throws behind Yerman. Throws behind him, and you can look on his face. He does not want to do this. He's not looking forward to this. But he does it because that's what he was told to do, and that's what you do when you're a pitcher. Excuse me. When you're a pitcher, that's what you do, right? You throw at guys when you're told to. No, you do it in a way that makes it so you're like, well, I wasn't really trying, but I did. He gets ejected from the game. I think that was wrong. A warning should have been issued, by the way. He should have been able to finish his three batters, but okay, whatever.
And he ended up getting suspended for 3 games.
And fined.
Yeah.
We should start a GoFundMe page for that guy. Pay for his fine.
I don't think the common folk like us need to pay for a Major League Baseball player's fine. I think he's doing just fine. He can.
Okay. Either way. And then now, Rich, this is where Tony La Russa's second post-game interview in as many days. Go ahead with it. Hit us with what he said there.
I don't blame them for what they did.
Tony La Russa. Have your guys back! For all that is holy in this world, have your guys back.
Exactly. He seemed like he was defending their actions, like he knew it was going to happen.
Like, seriously.
So if Yermin had actually been hit, so the unwritten rules of baseball, what Tony La Russa likes to reference and adhere to, that would mean that your pitcher, in turn, has to hit a batter on the opposing team.
That is not actually how it goes. The unwritten rules state that if it's in retaliation for a reasonable action, that it's okay to hit him. If it's not, that's when you then have to hit a guy. If it's uncalled for, that's when you got to hit a guy.
But
Either way.
But Tony had more things.
Ugh.
You had pitcher Lance Lynn saying that I don't remember what Lance Lynn's exactly said, but he was defending Yermin and defending his comments being made. What does Tony La Russa say? Well, that's why Lynn has an office. That's why I have an office and Lynn has a locker.
Yeah. But you did bring up statements by other pitchers. The best, my favorite pitcher currently is not somebody on our team. It's Trevor Bauer.
Yeah, what old Bauer have to say?
Good old Bauer. The next day, let me get to it because I want to read it word for word. I don't ever want to quote anybody out of context if I can.
Okay.
Oh, come on. Where you at? Trevor, you... Oh, no. This is... Okay. Nope. Why am I seeing everything? Oh, it's pinned. That's pinned. Okay. Yeah, this is great radio. I'm sorry, folks. Yeah. Basically, he said... Oh, here it is. May 18th. Trevor Bauer. Hot off the presses. Dear hitters, if you hit a 3-run homer off me, I don't consider it a crime. Dear people who are still mad about hitters hitting, kindly get out of the game. Shots fired. Can't believe we're still talking about 3-0 swings. If you don't like it, managers or pitchers, just be better at it. I love this guy.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that Tony La Russa is the one that's in the wrong.
Excuse me.
if you know your player said, "I'm just playing the game and being myself."
Yep.
I'm not going to apologize for that. You know what? It's one thing to have your opinion and say, you know what, I don't think what Mercedes did was right. I was telling him take. He missed the sign. I'll be talking with him today. End statement.
Yeah.
End it. You don't need to push further by saying that he's going to have to deal with the consequences. And if this happens again, I'm not afraid to run out to him.
Yeah.
And get in between him and the pitcher and say, take. But to put the whole emphasis on he missed a sign, we're going to be talking about that. And then doubling down the next day saying that what the Twins did in retaliation wasn't wrong.
Can someone write?
That's where I have the problem with what La Russa did.
Yeah.
I mean, you're the baseball manager. You're there to protect your players and back up your players.
Yeah. Either way, La Russa was in the wrong. Yermin was in the right. You guys are all... yeah, that's. I think we're both in agreement with that.
Yeah. All right, Mike. Anything else on the whole White Sox, Yermin Mercedes, Tony La Russa? I don't think that Tony La Russa is going to lose his job. He might lose his credibility. And I think the media, the Chicagoland media and the media in general might be overreacting.
Yep.
To saying that Tony La Russa needs to leave. He needs to get out of the game of baseball. He's so out of touch. But... because I don't think he's going to lose his job because he's got the right guy in the organization on his side and the owner.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like he's technically lost his clubhouse. At
Yeah,
least not yet.
A couple of guys in the clubhouse have basically said, hey, this is just like we're fighting with Dad. He thinks we're doing something wrong. We don't. We'll get over it. Hopefully that's the way that it's going right now. If not, good luck with that.
Yeah.
I think he's wrong. I think he did wrong by his players. I think he did wrong by the game. But, Okay,
Yeah,
anything else before we hit our...
quick hits.
Yeah, well, yeah. Part of our quick hits, we have the Preakness Stakes recap and some news on that side. Rich, the winner was Rombauer.
Yep.
Second
Crowded.
place was Midnight Bourbon, the guy I
Yep.
picked.
Mhm.
And fifth place was Crowded Trade, the guy you picked. We both had good picks. Good,
Yep.
solid picks. Mine finished in the money. Yours didn't.
Nope.
So, whatever.
Yeah, Bob Baffert won't be able to enter a horse into the final leg
Yep.
of the Triple Crown.
Yep. Because the New York Racing Association has barred Bob Baffert from entering any horses into tracks in New York. Yeah, it's not looking good for Bob Baffert. He might
No.
not be. He might be out of horse racing for good now. It really does seem this way. I think Kansas is going to hold up their ban on him.
Kentucky, but
Or
yeah.
Kentucky, yeah, is going to hold up their ban on him. And if you can't run in the run for the Roses, then you basically have no real reason to run.
Exactly.
So-
That's where the money. That's where your money is.
Yep.
In breeding rights, is being able to be. I mean, you can make a lot of money being a Triple Crown, a horse being a Triple Crown winner. But if you can win the Derby, that
That gets
being
you
a
half
Derby
the money.
win, a Preakness win, or a Belmont Stakes win for a horse isn't as big as a Kentucky Derby win
Correct.
on their resume.
100%. Everybody watches the Kentucky Derby. People only watch the Preakness because they're watching for the Triple Crown, and the only reason people watch the Belmont is if the winner of the Kentucky wins the Preakness. So,
Totally agree.
if he can't run the I almost said Daytona 500. If he can't run the Daytona 500 of horse racing, which is the
There you
Kentucky Derby, there's no reason for him to be in horse racing anymore. Other quick hits, Rich. The Lakers won the 7th seed, and so did the Celtics. And I think your notes are wrong on the 8th seeds.
The Wizards won.
Oh,
The
yeah, yeah.
Grizzlies beat the Warriors last night,
Oh, yeah.
and the Wizards are going to be your number 8 seed
Yeah,
over in the Eastern Conference.
in the Western Conference.
The
Or-
Wizard and the
Wizards.
Wizard and the East.
Oh yeah, Wizards. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a
Yep.
big deal. I think for your finals pick of the Jazz. I think if you're the Jazz, you'd probably rather see the Grizzlies than the Warriors.
100%.
So
think-
that's a good thing.
I think it's good for me. So, anyway, I do got to get out of here, folks. But before we do, if you're listening to us on podcast, thank you so much. Please like us, subscribe, and give us a good rating over on those rating things. I don't know how they work, but apparently you're supposed to like, subscribe, and rate, and do all
Yeah.
those things. If you want to see our pretty faces, you now have 2 options to do that. You can check us out on facebook.com/ballsandsticks. If you don't have a Facebook, you can still catch our videos on YouTube at youtube.com/ballsandsticks, I believe is what it's called. But you can look for our page over on the YouTube channel. Again, if you're watching us on YouTube, like, subscribe, hit that ding dong diddle bell thingy, and hit all the things. And if you want to participate in our poll questions, there's really only one way to do it, and that is by going to facebook.com/fans of balls and sticks. Rich, hit them with our Twitter handles, and we will roll that outro.
Yeah, you can also find us on Twitter at balls_sticks, and you can also find us wherever you find. You can take us on the road by finding us on wherever you find your favorite podcasts. A couple of shout outs before we go, Mike. A happy birthday to my sister-in-law Ashley, and also my cousin Liz, who celebrated birthdays this week.
You forgot one more.
And you, how could I forget you? Goodness. It happened on a Thursday.
It did happen on a Thursday.
Kind of got lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, you don't even wish me a happy birthday on my own podcast.
Goodness.
No, that's all right. Folks, I am Meat Heart on Twitter. Rich is Mr. Rich925, right?
Yes.
Follow us on Twitter. We both generally put out sports stuff. Occasionally, I get into politics. Not always. I try not to get too political, but sometimes I get political. You'll have to forgive me. You may not agree, but that's why Twitter is Twitter. Anyway, Check us out. We will catch you on next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Rich, it's time to roll the outro. Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa. This is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich.